All right, so like everyone's talking about AI these days, right? And those Ray-Ban smart glasses. Super cool. Who wouldn't want to take pics and get stuff answered just by talking to their glasses? It's like living in the future. But this article by attorney Mitch Jackson, he's an AI expert, really made me think twice about having a camera like connected to the internet on my face 24/7.
Yeah, it is interesting that Meta won't actually say what they're doing with all the images that the glasses are recording.
Right. So Mitch, he dug into whether or not Meta uses those photos that the Ray-Ban glasses take to train their AI models and their response. Basically a big shrug.
Yeah, they're really good at not actually answering the question. When asked directly, Meta just said, we're not publicly discussing that, or that's not something we typically share externally.
Like they wouldn't even give a straight yes or no. Makes you wonder, if they weren't using the data, wouldn't they just say so? I don't know. It's a little unsettling, this whole like lack of transparency.
It's definitely suspicious. It makes you think about how Meta has used data before.
Hmm.
Remember when they admitted to using public Instagram and Facebook posts to train AI?
Oh yeah. They were basically like, well, it's publicly available, so it's fair game.
And that makes you wonder, what's their definition of publicly available? Like, is everything you see through these glasses also considered public to them?
And it gets even weirder because they just launched this new Ray-Ban AI feature that's constantly taking pictures and sending them to an AI model. You might not even realize how much data you're giving them, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of scary when you think about how much information those glasses are collecting.
Like, imagine you're asking your glasses to help you pick an outfit. It seems harmless, right? But those glasses, they could be taking pictures of your house, all your stuff, everything, and we have absolutely no idea what they do with those images once they're, like, in the cloud.
Exactly. Are they storing them,
Yeah,
analyzing them,
yeah.
using them to train AI? We just don't know. And while Meta is very quiet about all of this, other AI companies, they're singing a different tune altogether. Anthropic and OpenAI, for example, they're totally upfront about their data. They flat out say they don't use any user data to train their AI. Not what you put in, not the output you get back, nothing.
So you've got some companies being transparent, and then you've got Metadot keeping everyone in the dark. What does that say, about AI development in general?
It really highlights the tension between wanting to push AI forward and respecting privacy. Companies like Meta, they're all about innovating. But sometimes that innovation, it comes at a cost, like transparency and control over our own data.
So it seems like it boils down to some companies are upfront about data, and then you have Meta, and they're keeping things very hush-hush. Is there a downside to this, like, ask for forgiveness later approach?
Well, there's a trade-off. By being open about data practices, companies like Anthropic, OpenAI, they might be limiting how much data they can actually use to train AI. And that could affect how good their models are compared to those trained on, tons of data, like what Meta seems to have.
It's kind of like learning to cook. More recipes, more dishes. But with AI, the ingredients are our personal data.
Yeah, and that brings up a big question. How much privacy are we willing to give up for better AI? It's not an easy question. Each company, each user has to figure out their comfort level.
That's a tough one, especially when you don't always know what you're giving up. So let's say Meta IS training AI on our smart glasses data. What are the risks? Is it just like targeted ads, or is it more than that?
It could be way more than that. Think facial recognition, right? Imagine AI that can identify you anywhere just by looking at you, powered by data from your own glasses.
Okay, now that is some Black Mirror stuff.
Yeah, and it's not entirely fiction either. Imagine how this could be used not just by Meta, but by, like, governments, even people who want to do bad things.
Wait, so you're saying our every move could be tracked and, like, analyzed in the future? I mean, isn't that a bit extreme?
It might sound crazy, but we've got to talk about it. Tech's changing so fast, we need to think about this now.
Yeah.
And Meta not being transparent makes it even more important to protect our data.
So say someone's listening to us. They really want these glasses, but they also care about privacy. What can they actually do? What should they be looking out for?
Awareness is key. You got to control your digital footprint. Those long agreements we always scroll through, yeah, those actually matter. Take time to read them, see what you're agreeing to about data and how they can use it.
Easier said than done, right? That stuff's impossible to understand.
Yeah, but a lot of times they tell you if they can use your data to train AI or if they share it. Look for those parts. Pay attention to the privacy settings. Maybe you can even limit what they collect in the first place.
So be proactive. Don't just assume a device will protect your privacy.
That's it. And don't be afraid to ask those companies directly if something's unclear. The more we push for transparency, the better chance we have at protecting our privacy.
It is our data. We should have a say in how it's used. This reminds me, Mitch Jackson in his article said this isn't just about convenience or new tech. There are legal things to think about.
That's really important. What happens when our data is used in ways we never agreed to or even understood?
Feels like we're in uncharted territory here.
In many ways, we are.
Hmm.
And that leads to a big question we all need to consider.
So if companies won't tell us what they're doing with our data, how can we even know what we're agreeing to when we use this tech? It's kind of crazy. We started talking about cool gadgets, and now it feels like we're like philosophers debating digital ethics.
Well, yeah, it's hard to avoid. AI is changing so fast. Yeah. And these ethical questions, they just keep getting bigger. And it's not just about these glasses, right? It's any device, any website, anything that collects data.
So this goes way beyond Meta and these smart glasses. This is about the whole future of AI and privacy.
Definitely. Just think about all the data we create every day, just living our lives. All that data, it's like fuel for these AI models.
Yeah.
But what are we giving up for that? That's what we have to figure out. Where do we draw the line?
So for our listeners, people who are excited about AI, but also, care about their privacy, what can they actually do?
I think the biggest thing is just being aware. Pay attention to the data you're creating on your phone, on social media, even just browsing online. And don't be afraid to demand more transparency from these companies. Like, hey, what are you doing with our information?
It's about taking back control instead of blindly trusting, right?
Exactly. AI can do some awesome things, but we have to be smart about how we use it. Our privacy matters.
It's like we're trying to balance embracing the future, but also protecting ourselves at the same time.
Perfectly said. And honestly, it's a conversation we all need to be having as a society. What are we willing to give up for progress? It's a tough question with no easy answers, but, we can't ignore it.
Definitely a lot to think about. We started this whole thing wondering if our smart glasses are spying on us, but it turns out the real question is much bigger. What happens to all the data we create in this, increasingly digital world? So thanks for joining us. And remember, just because technology makes something possible doesn't mean it's the right thing to do.
It's been great diving into these ideas with you. And to everyone listening, stay curious, stay informed, and stay in control of your data.